it was burning the boats. It was leaving those jobs. We bought a house overlooking the ocean because this was getting skin in the game. So oftentimes we think about running towards our dream of, okay, when I have success, I will have this and that. Well, we decided we'd do it a little backwards. We would buy the dream first, the house with the great ocean view. And then that lights a fire under our butt to make sure that we do it so that we don't lose the dream. So a little bit different. There's also the other aspect that I wanted to do retreats 4 times a year out here on the coast, because the wellness and the healing factors out here on the coast are just amazing. I mean, ocean magic, right? It just, it pulls all of the yucky stuff out. So at some point, I'm still working up to it. I'll have collaboration retreats where all of the different businesses that I'm helping to support and get up and running will all come together in collaboration and do these large retreats of up to 300 people for the weekend, where we have keynote speakers and breakout sessions and using all of the different types of modalities for either healing mental health or helping businesses. And we're all going to come together and do it out here on the coast.
Oh my God.
So it's pretty big. It takes a while to work up to all of that, but I've got a lot of those pieces already in place and everything's working. So pretty exciting stuff.
Well, you know, I feel like you are there for a reason, because, you know, when we first met, kind of out of the blue, you saw something, felt something in what I was doing online, and we got together.
Can I tell the story?
Sure.
Can I tell the story? Okay. So you were my very first one-on-one coach that I ever hired. And I had so many people coming at me, like offering help. Because, you know, when you're a new entrepreneur and you're especially doing social media marketing, people can sense it. And then everybody's sliding into your DMs, offering you things, but that's not your style. No. You're like, I'm going to emote all of my energy out into the world and allow the people to find me, the ones that need me the most. And so I was one of those people. So you were doing some different Facebook lives back then. And this was like early 2020, like before the pandemic hit. And you had a video of you out in a parking lot, like with a shoebox, and you had just bought some shoes or something. And then there are also ones where you were driving in the car and you had your sister-in-law and and you were singing Prince songs. And you were just the energy, the having all of it. And at the time, like, that was a struggle. Like, I was going through all of the changes, it was the first few months of my business. My emotions were just in the toilet, and I did not have the energy. And you had the energy, but you also knew what it was like to have family members that had special needs. And so it's like, it's not just that you're running a business, it's that you have that and this extra responsibility. And that was something that I also faced. So I was like, I need someone who gets me, who isn't going to try to like push me super, super hard and like burn me out, like, and that had that energy. And I didn't even know if you would coach people on business. I was just like, I don't know, but I know I need this man in my life. And so I reached out to you. I'm like, can I have your help? And best decision of my life.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna happen again. So, and now we're live too. But I'm so like, I'm taking a shower in just imaginary gratitude right now because of what you're saying, and it just speaks to the fact that, you know, at that time, I was making some decisions about how I wanted to present myself, you know, and I'm like, we talked about this a little bit off camera, but I was very big on just being myself. Because they're true, like what you said, there are a lot of people, there are a lot of gurus and a bunch of tactics and all kinds of stuff. And then there's just truth. And that's kind of what I was doing my best to emulate, is just my truth at that time and pulling my phone out and recording. And I heard from another, I guess he's considered a guru too, but he's like, in a nutshell, he's like, I don't do content creation, I do documentation. And so I was like,
great way of looking at it. I love it.
Right. I'm like, document. don't create content, just document.
Mhm.
And so that is the moment that caught me, because Lizzie at the time, she was feeling it. I was feeling it. So I'm like, let's do this.
Yeah.
And so, it just proof positive that you stick with just who you are, knowing who you are at the core, and being okay with whatever the results that come, whatever happens, happens. And I am super duper grateful that that happened, because here we are.
Here we are. Here we are. Yeah. Being authentic is something that's really important to me. And it's not always easy, though, because sometimes we really fear rejection. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, if I show up exactly as I am, will people want me? Well,
Mm,
the reality is we don't want everybody to want us. There
right.
are a lot of people out there that we wouldn't choose to have
Right.
in our circles.
Right. For
And so
sure.
I'd rather show up as myself and have you show up as yourself so that I know, yeah, no, we're value aligned. This is a good
Hmm.
energy match, because there's a lot of people out there where it's like they're not.
Yeah.
And I would like to repel the people that are not a value match with me.
Exactly. Exactly. I don't know if I shared this with you, but tell me if you recognize this. But I developed a saying, and I think I even printed it on a shirt. But at the time when I was, still kind of new to the online game, I had decided that my business and my life is very similar to a train,
Mm,
and there are many cars on the train. So there's many in my house. I have many solutions on my train. And you've got three choices when it comes to a moving train. You can get on, you can get off, or you can get the hell out of the way.
mm,
So that's
yeah.
kind of the mentality that I had to develop,
Mhm,
because being in the online space, especially, you got to put on a thick coat of skin sometimes,
mhm.
and be okay with delivering your message, and maybe having that message not be so well received by some,
Yeah.
but being able to move forward anyway.
Yeah. Well,
So,
and let's talk about that thick coat of skin, because
okay.
there's different ways that we can do it, right? We could take like that direct hit and just like try to be tough. It's like, okay, but we can also work on preparing our mindset ahead of time,
Yeah.
coming up with some thoughts ahead of time for how we're going to interpret when people come at us with comments that maybe might not be kind, or they
Mm,
might be a completely different opinion, or they're telling us that we're wrong. We can come up with our thoughts ahead of time for how we want to view that.
yeah.
And I recently had to do that too, because there were some things that I wanted to talk about. Like there's a lot of change happening in the United States right now.
Right.
And whew, there's a lot. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of the change that's hurting my heart. And then there's some where I'm like, maybe there's something good here.
Mm,
Maybe, right? Because I learned this as I was learning about growth mindset versus fixed mindset. That if I keep coming at it thinking I'm right and they're wrong, that's me being fixed. I'm
mm,
not allowing myself to be open to learning from other people, especially people that might have a completely different outlook on life.
mm-hmm.
And when I learned this lesson, it's because my emotional flare gun was going off. I was still working in corporate. I was working with other coaches, and I was so upset because they weren't willing to learn from me. So, especially around mindset, they were thinking there's, just some of them, not all of them, some of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and I was so upset, and it was hurting me so bad that they weren't willing to learn from me. And then when I went back to the growth mindset, and there's this growth mindset continuum that I use as a little diagnostic tool. When I'm feeling yucky, it's
Yeah.
usually because I have a fixed mindset thought. And it turns out that the one that I had was about that whole learning thing. They
Mm,
weren't willing to listen to me. Oh, was I willing to listen to them? Which also is one of those great little mindset techniques that Byron Katie is
mm,
presented, which is the turnaround technique. Whenever you have a thought about someone else, you swap out the pronouns and try it in all of the different pronoun versions. And
yep.
so they're not willing to learn from me. I'm not willing to learn from them.
That is
Whew.
huge. Oh
And
man.
so I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Okay. Yeah, there's some truth in that too. So it's
Yeah.
like both of these can be true. And I thought, okay, well, what if I want to role model how I want to be treated? So I was like, how about, as much as I think I don't need to learn anything from them, and this is, years back, what if
Yeah.
I open the door and allow myself to learn something? Like maybe they know something I don't.
Mm.
And so that was the thought that I had, because it was for my own mental health. If I continued to hold up that thing of no, they're wrong and they have to learn from me, it was sending me spiraling down. Depression was taking over. It was bad.
Ah.
But I was like, no, I'm doing this for me. I want good mental health. So I'm going to open the door. Maybe they know something I don't. And so I decided
Huh.
I will go first of allowing them to share with me, and for me to be open
Yeah.
and not judgmental, as much as that was so hard. I had to practice it. Like that's the growth, right? Of, okay, maybe there's something here I don't know. I'm going to sit back. I'm going to learn. And maybe some of the things that other people do seem like real jerky things to do. And even like going back to parenting, even my husband and I, we have a blended family of 5 kids.
Yeah.
And there are some times that he would parent a little bit differently than I did. And, in one moment where he was like, okay, enough of the softness of mom. We're going to do things a little bit harder. And I was just like, what? Can't
Mm.
do it that way. But in taking it back, like, okay, maybe there's something I don't know. And let's just see it as an experiment. It's like, okay,
Ah.
let's give him a try to do it his way, even though I think his way is wrong, but okay, maybe there's something I don't know. And what I found was that we actually got results and
Mm.
it didn't destroy our kids, because,
Wow.
I want to make sure mental health is always okay.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, sometimes some of these other solutions that might, at first seem rough or whatever, actually there's something there that actually works. It's
Wow.
actually better than what we thought.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's one of those things of voicing. Maybe we can learn something here. There's going to be some people that come and give comments of, no, that's wrong. Don't
Right.
open yourself up that maybe there's something there. It's like, okay, but I'm choosing my mental health.
Yeah. Yeah.